Have you ever noticed how some people don't get bored when they're alone? They actually feel better. While most of society treats solitude like a problem to fix, for certain personalities it's the opposite. Being alone isn't loneliness, it's clarity. And psychology has a lot to say about why some people genuinely prefer their own company. First, we need to separate two words people constantly confuse: isolation and solitude. Isolation is when you feel cut off from connection. Solitude is when you choose distance and feel mentally refreshed because of it. People who enjoy being alone are rarely antisocial. In fact, research consistently shows they often have strong social skills. They just don't need constant interaction to feel secure. Their brain stimulation threshold works differently. Extroverts seek external stimulation, noise, conversation, movement, because it energizes them. But introverted and solitude-oriented personalities process stimulation more deeply. Crowded environments don't energize them, they overload them. Every conversation, every facial expression, every sound gets analyzed at a higher intensity. After a while, their brain feels like too many tabs are open. Being alone is how they close those tabs. This connects to dopamine sensitivity. People who enjoy solitude often have nervous systems that react more strongly to incoming stimuli. What feels exciting to others feels exhausting to them. So when they step into quiet space, it isn't emptiness, it's relief. Their mind finally runs at its natural speed. Another psychological trait common among people who like to be alone is high self-referential thinking. They spend more time reflecting, replaying experiences, and simulating future scenarios in their head. Their brain's default mode network, the system active during daydreaming and introspection, is particularly active. That's why solitude often produces creativity. Writers, programmers, designers, researchers, and deep thinkers frequently crave uninterrupted time because their best ideas emerge without external input competing for attention. Interestingly, enjoying solitude is also strongly linked with emotional independence. These individuals don't rely heavily on social validation to regulate their self-esteem. Many people feel uncomfortable alone because silence removes feedback. No reactions, no reassurance, no distraction. But psychologically independent people generate their own emotional stability. They self-soothe through thinking, learning, planning, or creating. Their identity is internally anchored rather than socially anchored. This is why they don't text constantly, don't panic when plans get canceled, and don't fear missing out as much. Their reward system activates through understanding rather than attention. Knowledge, mastery, and insight produce satisfaction similar to social praise for others. There's also a strong connection between solitude preference and observation ability. When you spend less time talking, you spend more time noticing. People who enjoy being alone often develop high situational awareness. They pick up patterns in behavior, tone shifts in conversation, and subtle emotional cues others overlook. Social environments become information-dense for them, which again explains exhaustion. They're processing more data per second. Another surprising aspect is empathy. Many assume solitude-loving people are detached, but studies show they can be deeply empathetic. The difference is emotional boundaries. Instead of constantly sharing feelings outward, they process emotions inward first. They need private space to understand what they feel before expressing it. Without that space, they feel mentally crowded. Childhood environment also plays a role. People who grew up entertaining themselves, reading, imagining, building things alone, trained their brain to associate solitude with comfort and safety. Over time, the mind builds a positive feedback loop. Alone equals calm, calm equals clarity, clarity equals reward. So adulthood simply continues a familiar mental pattern. Importantly, liking solitude doesn't mean disliking people. It means preferring intentional interaction. Rather than many shallow connections, they gravitate toward fewer but deeper relationships. They may disappear socially for days, then have a single meaningful conversation that feels more fulfilling than weeks of small talk. Modern society sometimes mislabels them as distant, arrogant, or shy. But psychologically, many are neither shy nor socially anxious. They just conserve social energy. Think of it like a battery. Extroverts recharge through interaction. Solitude-oriented individuals recharge through absence of interaction. Both drain in the opposite environment. There's also a cognitive advantage. Studies show people comfortable being alone demonstrate higher self-regulation. Without constant external stimulation, the brain strengthens attention control. That's why they can focus longer, work independently, and persist through complex tasks. They're less distracted by the need for immediate feedback. However, the key distinction is choice. Healthy solitude feels peaceful. Unhealthy isolation feels heavy. People who genuinely enjoy being alone can still connect when they want to. They simply don't need to all the time. The moment solitude becomes avoidance of life or fear of interaction, psychology stops calling it preference and starts calling it withdrawal. In reality, humans exist on a social spectrum. Some minds are designed for crowds, others for quiet rooms filled with thoughts. Neither is better. They're complementary. Societies need connectors and contemplators, the ones who talk and the ones who think before speaking. So the next time someone chooses a quiet evening over a party, remember, they're not missing life. They're experiencing it internally. For them, silence isn't empty. It's where ideas organize, emotions settle, and identity strengthens. Being alone, for the right personality, isn't escaping the world. It's understanding it.